Maintain our global reach for years to come. Since 2009, the base's Air Force units have moved 1.1 million personnel and 670,000 tons of cargo and offloaded more than 1.5 billion pounds of fuel. The base is home of the Air Force Expeditionary Operations School, which provides expeditionary training and education for the Air Force. Naval Air Warfare Center Aircraft Division at Lakehurst is leading research by infusing the latest technology to launch, land, and maintain aircraft from ships at sea. Some of the amazing things that go on each and every day here at Joint Base McGuire-Dix-Lakehurst, an amazing facility that's doing so much for our country, and again, one of the reasons why we can be so proud of what goes on here each and every day in support of our nation's objectives. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take you back in history as approaching from the left, the medium bomber used, one of the medium bombers used during World War II, the B-25 Billy Mitchell. The B-25 was the very last aircraft ever named after an individual. It was named after General Billy Mitchell, who many years before envisioned how important aircraft would be to military operations, the next battles, the next war. And of course, many of his contemporaries at the time thought he was absolutely nuts and crazy because aircraft really was in its infancy. But of course, World War II proved him absolutely right, and this is one of the reasons right here, the B-25. This aircraft that you're seeing flying here today is the oldest B-25 still flying in the world today. It was the fourth B-25 off the production line. Let's give a big wave to the CF-18 pilot as he taxis by. Yeah, they can't hear you, but they can see you waving. One thing I love about these air shows, you see modern military aircraft and of course the history in the air all at the same time of the day. That the B-25 gets ready to approach from your right this time. The B-25 was a medium bomber again used in World War II, used in every theater of operation, from the Aleutians to the South Pacific, the China, Burma, India theater, the Mediterranean theater of operations, North Africa, and in Europe. And of course, this aircraft was made famous in April of 1942 when 16 of these land-based bombers took off from an aircraft carrier, the USS Hornet, only 6 months after Pearl Harbor, and bombed the Japanese mainland. Jimmy Doolittle and the intrepid crews flew these aircraft, again, land-based bombers off an aircraft carrier. Everybody thought it was nuts to begin with, but the plan came together and worked. Now, of course, the bombing raids did minimal damage to the Japanese homeland, but the main purpose of the attack, of course, was to build morale. All throughout the beginning of World War II and in the early parts after Pearl Harbor, nothing but bad news was coming out as the Japanese rapidly advanced through the South Pacific, and of course, Germany was rolling through Europe. And of course, when these B-25s put bombs on the Japanese mainland, morale shot through the roof. And again, the response was amazing as men and women, countless thousands, rose up from all parts of the country to support the effort. And it's aircraft like the B-25 that was flown into combat by our fathers and grandfathers that made such an incredible difference. Watch now as this beautiful aircraft approaches from your left. This particular aircraft, by the way, was modified to be the personal aircraft of Hap Arnold, who was the commander of the Army Air Corps in World War II. This aircraft was actually used as his personal aircraft between 1943 and 1944. The aircraft, believe it or not, was actually owned by Howard Hughes. He bought this aircraft in 1951, and actually flew Marilyn Monroe in this plane to one of her husband's funerals, believe it or not. The B-25, one of the aircraft that made such a difference in World War II. Originally designed as a medium bomber, the aircraft, of course, was modified throughout the war. One version of this aircraft actually carried the largest cannon and armament ever used in an aircraft. It was a 75-millimeter cannon. Again, designed originally as a bomber aircraft, B-25s, like many aircraft during World War II, were modified to perform different roles. From bombing, one of the most impressive missions, one of the most dangerous, was called skip bombing. This was a technique where the B-25, like you see right now, would come in low over the water, select an enemy ship as a target, release the bomb, and it would literally skip across the water just like a stone, smashing into the enemy vessel. Very dangerous maneuver, but very, very effective. As a matter of fact, during World War II, a Japanese destroyer actually surrendered to a squadron of B-25s rather than face the wrath and firepower that would come from these aircraft.
I would still have asked for anyone that has to, you know what?
The aircraft you see flying today, mishap, was completed in February 1st of 1941. It was delivered to the military in February of 1941. She was the first B-25 assigned to the 17th Bomb Group, 34th Bomb Squadron. Again, this aircraft in 1943 was returned to Inglewood, California, and transformed again into the personal aircraft of General Hap Arnold, the Army Air Corps commander. A bed was added on. There were some seats added in the back, so it's a little bit different than the combat version of B-25s you might see today. Get your cameras ready as history comes in from the left, the B-25 Mitchell. The aircraft is operated and maintained by the American Airpower Museum. Since 2002, it's been flying air shows all across the country. Beautiful example of an aircraft that made such a difference during World War II. And my hat is always off to all these great organizations that do so much to keep these legends of the skies in the air, because you know you can't run down to the auto aero parts store and find parts for a B-25. I'm sorry.